Mechanical damage, enemy number one of the natural hair community, and the thing that I've been fighting against with my clients for the last 14 years of my career. Whenever you're looking at natural hair, at the curls, or through this black cape, the hair looks amazing, right? You don't see any breakage, but guess what? Looks can be deceiving, because when I take away that black space and you fill those holes with light, this is the reality. So if you're a person who thinks that you don't have to do maintenance on your ends, and you don't have to trim, and that you can detangle the hair wet and all of those things, this is the reality. Let's talk about it. Hey, you there? Before we get started, make sure you subscribe here to my channel, and once you subscribe, click on that bell notification so you're notified every single time I post another video. Let them know that you want to see me. Yes, so let's get started. This beauty here is one of my clients, okay? I want you guys to check all of the links in the description box below so you can understand what's going on in these recap videos. So our regular routine, I didn't see her like on a every 2-week basis, but you know, a couple of times a year we would see each other, and her mother was my client on like a regular consistent basis. Okay, so in this video we are going to be talking about mechanical damage. In the videos listed in the links below, I go very deep into what mechanical damage is, so make sure you check those videos out so you can be caught up. But in short, I'm going to give you an example. Most of the time in the natural community, and when I say natural community, I'm talking about us wearing our natural hair, black women specifically wearing their natural hair, but this can go for every race. Okay, so we have 3 different forms of damage. We have chemical damage, we have the one form of damage that everyone is the most afraid of, which is heat damage, and then we have mechanical damage. Chemical damage is the damage that you do to the hair when you are using, you know, chemicals, hair color, relaxers, perms, things of that nature. Heat damage is any type of damage that you get from a flat iron. You can get it from a blow dryer. You can get heat damage from the sun. There are a lot of different ways you can get heat damage, and what we are talking about today is mechanical damage. Mechanical damage is, in my opinion, one of the forms of damage that haunts people with natural hair, naturally curly hair, the most. Why? Because we are under the illusion, which is very understandable, that the way that you are supposed to detangle your hair is when you are using water. I'm sorry, is to only use water in some way, shape, or form. Now, this is my opinion from the 14 years that I have spent in this career, along with the other licensing and certifications that I have. Now, if you ask any medical professional, don't even talk about hair care, just say, when is our hair weakest? Is it weakest when it is wet, or is it weakest when it is dry? And they are going to tell you that it is weakest when it is wet. However, there are so many videos and so many ebooks and all of this information that people can download, and in all of this information it tells you to detangle your hair with water. This is an issue, and one of the main reasons that I find that all of my clients that came in with the natural hair would have the issue that you guys are going to see in this last video. Most people, even when you look through the comments of this video and all of my older videos, people always say the same thing. Most women, and if you have this problem, be honest and leave it in the comments below. Most women, if they do straighten their hair or blow dry it, you all notice damage in the same exact spot. That spot is in the back of your head, where you have sort of kind of like a triangle. That is for very specific reason, and there is a reason why all of these different women from all different walks of life that live in all of these different locations have the same exact forms of breakage, and it's because most women are following the same exact patterns: detangling the hair when it's wet, or wearing your hair in styles that you think are protective, or wearing your hair in ponytails the majority of the time, or high top knot buns the majority of the time. Understand pressure points, okay? So not only is the hair weakest when it is wet, but you are putting tension on your hair in and only styling your hair when it is wet. You're also combing your hair, putting it in ponytails when your hair is wet. And where that ponytail holder is, that area under the ponytail holder never dries. And that is where that breakage is. You have your hair in a ponytail every single day, whether it's a high one or a low one. And right there in the middle, where you see that triangle in everybody's head, that is that pressure point. So yes, I know having curly hair is a lot, having natural hair is a lot, but if you have a regimen and we all stop being product junkies and have a set routine that we follow with a set few products, then we'll be fine. But what ends up happening over time, you know, we want to try all of these different things, and you'll have 1,000 different products from a whole bunch of different product lines, using them all at once. Why? Because that's what the culture teaches us. The culture teaches us to try different products, but you do not do that. I'm going to give you guys a really good example coming really soon, but you are not a mannequin. When you're a cosmetologist or your hairstylist or anybody that was in school, we practiced on mannequins, not human beings. We did not begin to start touching real life people until after we passed theory. Theory was bookwork inside of a classroom. So if the people who are licensed to do your hair wouldn't even touch their own hair or clients until after they passed certain tests and got certified on a certain level by the state to move on the floor, why would you? Start investing in mannequins. Or if you have older curly hair, one thing that I tell people to do is to invest in a pretty good wig that matches your natural curl pattern. And when you get a wig that matches your natural curl pattern, you can do a porosity test on that wig. What do I mean by this? So let's do this. Go get you a wig, right? And make sure, like I said, it's pretty good quality. Comb through it. And after you comb through it, test the porosity. So let's say that the porosity on this wig is high porosity, but you have low porosity hair. Then take a very, very thin layer of shea butter, something with a thicker consistency, but a very thin layer of it, and put it on that hair extension. And what that's going to do is slightly close that open cuticle for that high porosity hair, and then put that product on that wig and test the product like that. And vice versa, if you have high porosity hair and you get you a curly wig that you do the strand test on and you find that that wig has high porosity, then you test the product that you're going to try out on that wig. You are not a test dummy. So let's stop this, because there's so many, I have watched so many videos with different YouTubers that have taught you guys to use all of these different products that are throwing all of these products away. So I really need you to just start off not being a product junkie and stop testing out these products on your hair, and use your wigs and your mannequins. Let's say you don't have the extra money to invest in a wig to do that test. Well, let's just wait until after you comb out your hair one day after a wash day and go ahead and test out products on that extra hair of yours that you have. Stop testing products out on your natural hair, because guess what? If something happens and it doesn't work for your hair, your end has already split. And as you're going to see in a minute, once the ends split, they never stop. They will continue to split up the hair shaft. And this leads me to the next thing. In the comments for most of my videos, people will say like, oh, if you trim it a little bit, will it stop it? No, it will not. The only reason that your hairstylist is like, okay, fine, we can just trim a little bit, is because she knows that she's not going to be able to talk you out of it. And then a lot of people are like, oh, hairstylists don't want to give you the information, but I have two things for you. Please don't get mad at me. But first thing, when you go to your regular everyday job, whatever that thing may be, whether it's in the beauty industry or not, when you go in and you have one interview, and after you get that interview and after you get that job, anybody that comes in contact with you knows that you know your stuff, because you've already been interviewed and the person who is your boss is already verified that you know your stuff. So guess what? A cosmetologist is the same way, or a hairstylist is the same way. They have already been tested through the state. So they're already certified. So there is a way that you ask questions, and that form is booking a consultation. When you book a consultation, you can have a conversation with your hairstylist or your cosmetologist, and you can let them know what issues you're having and what you are expecting. And during that time, it works for the hairstylist and your service provider because they know what you want. You guys can feel each other's energy, and guess what? If you don't like her, if she doesn't like your energy, you guys know that coming off the back, and you can keep moving. But we don't do that. We just go straight into the first person that we come across, depending on price, and that is not what you do. I really hope that these things are making sense, but I really need you guys to understand that this is how the procedure goes. And then on top of that, I need you to know your hair. I need us to know our hair and understand what your hair needs, because when you go into your hairstylist, even if you see your stylist every 2 weeks, you see her one day every 2 weeks. So it is your responsibility to make sure that you're keeping up with the regimen. And you have to actually respect her professionalism, because that would be number 2. Most people don't respect their hairstylist and their professionalism, and everyone walks in with the preconceived notion and judgment that their hairstylist is just going to want to cut all of their hair off. And the reality of it is, the majority of women have this experience because most women have extreme damage. And you guys, please don't get upset when I say this. I'm only saying this because this has been my experience for 14 years straight. So if it's not your experience and this is not the shoe that you fit into, then my love, please do not wear it, because I'm not talking to you. Don't get offended. But the majority of my clients, this was the reality. And I have hundreds of these videos, hundreds coming, hundreds. Do you hear me? So I'm willing to stand by what I say. I was going to cut it off and let the music finish, but we're almost done. So we might as well keep talking, because I'm going to cut it off and then come back in 2 minutes. So let's just stay. At this point, I am using, all of the products that are listed in the description box below. I am a firm believer that your hair and your cuticle and your follicle need memory. So I don't go back and forth with a whole bunch of products over and over again. And that one that you just saw, that name that you just saw pop up, that was the original audio. So, but I still like that song. Go download that stuff. So at this point, leave me some comments below right now. How much damage do you think we have? How much? Well, I know you know how many inches we have because you already saw the video at the beginning, but how much do you think she is going to allow me to cut? And remember, all of this is always up to my client. My client gets to decide how much hair we cut. And remember, she's younger. She has her time to make up for stuff. She can fix her stuff. She younger than most of the people watching this. But this is, when I tell y'all I would have 10 clients a day, and every last client I have here would be just like this. Just like this. That's why I'm so intense about it, because it's not even up for argument. Why would I want to debate about it when this was my reality for 14 years? So this was where we ended up deciding to cut. This is where she was comfortable. So love her to death. She knows it, and she knows what I had to say about it when we got done. But this did nothing for us. Absolutely nothing. A lot of hairstylists will tell you guys this, but you guys want to argue with hairstylists, and we have this thing that everyone likes to say, stylists are scissor happy. We are not scissor happy. We've been to school and we are certified by the state, and we know what is going to happen when you hold on to dead hair. That hair that you saw, that hole, it will not stop splitting. You trimming the ends, it did nothing. And even what we trimmed, that wasn't enough hair. That was not the bottom of the split. So it will continue to split all the way up the hair shaft until it reaches the follicle. And once it splits within the follicle, it dies. And each person has about 100,000 follicles on their scalp, and each follicle has anywhere from 1 to 4 strands. Over time, as you get older, even if you do everything right, you go from 4 strands to 3 strands, and hopefully you'll stop there, but it can keep declining. But guess what? If you're not keeping up with your trims, and if your hair starts to split all the way up the shaft, those different strands within the follicle will start to die off one by one. And once too many of them die within the follicle itself begins to die. And this is where all of these different forms of alopecia and things are coming from, you guys. There's no way around a trim. There's no repairing a trim. We're running out of time. I had another comment. Someone asked like, oh, will Olaplex fix it? Listen, there is no fixing split ends. Olaplex is a bond reconstructor. It is not gonna fix your split ends. The only way for you to retain length is to keep up with maintenance. The only way to get rid of your single strand knots and your split ends and to grow your hair is to keep your scalp clean and clear and your ends maintained. That's it, and that's all. I really love you guys so much. I hope that I didn't offend anyone, and if I did offend you, oh well. Go to a shop, book an appointment, put your mask on, put your little mask on, and go sit down and let her cut where the line of demarcation is, because you're trying to hold on to the stuff and you're gonna be bald. This is cute now, but it's only gonna stay cute for so long unless we get everything off into that line of demarcation. So go ahead and comment, even if you're in your feelings. I don't care. It's 14 years strong, girl.